Hello and welcome to Carp Fever TV. It's an absolutely gorgeous March day. The sun's been out all day. I'm down here with Jerry Hammond for the latest instalment of the interview series, and we're at your lovely complex, mate, aren't we?
Yep, lovely day it is as well. We're at the Carthagena Fisheries. This is Brooke Lake and Carthagena Lake, the main lake's just down the bottom now. They're both syndicates now.
Yeah, we'll show you a few shots of the lake as well. So it's an absolutely stunning place. I mean, you're suffering a bit with flooding at the minute, aren't you, mate? But
well, the main lake's been all right. It hasn't flooded at all winter because we've got an outlet that goes into the river,
right.
Which it's always been there. It's been there since we've got. But this lake here, this has got no way of getting the water out, and obviously the water comes up with the water table to the height of the river that surrounds this lake. So we have been a bit flooded, but considering this has probably been the wettest winter ever, we ain't done too bad.
It's not bad at all. I mean, we're sitting in one peg. It's literally just the fronts at the moment, but yeah, it won't take long for the levels to drop down with it, mate.
No, it's perfect at the minute.
But it ain't affected the fishing, has it?
No, it's been all right as it goes. The fish are obviously well and truly waking up now. This is like, what's it, March the 14th, 15th today? I'm losing track. Yeah. Right, March the 14th. God, last year it was like ice age still, wasn't it? Right up to April.
Yeah,
so
it was, yeah.
Total contrast to last year.
A couple of weeks ago we had snow. We still had snow, didn't we?
Well, I've done some work last April over on the Metz Lake and it was absolutely freezing. But now you'd think it was like proper springtime, but as you can see from all around us, the trees are still sort of in their winter coat, and but the fish are certainly waking up. This swim itself, like, done a 29 common last night.
Last night,
yeah, to one of the other guys.
Stunning, deep-bodied common,
really,
real, you know, one of the sort of poster fish for this place, isn't it? Because they're all of this sort of quality.
What seems to be happening at the minute? There's a lot of carp coming through from like upper doubles to 20s, all of a sudden are pushing through to mid 20s to upper 20s, and people are catching them and not knowing what they are like. They're going, oh, this has got to be one of the known big ones, but they're not. They've been caught before, but they're just moving on, like they're marching on in this lake.
That's it, they're piling on the weight as well, aren't they? Really well.
Yeah, it's going good. Probably like most anglers, really. I've always been an outside person. I spent most of my life out on the outside. If it's not on the bank fishing, I was in the army for 8 years, and as a kid I was always out camping, and basically I'd stay out all day and all night so my mum come and search the streets to get me in. And if I weren't up the pond chasing like newts and tadpoles and red throats or whatever in the river, you know, I was continually coming home with all my clothes trashed, covered in silt. My mum would go mental, like, you know. But that was me. I was like Tom Sawyer. I was outside all the time, you know, out and about with a net in my hand, and basically just loved the outside world. And
just one thing's led to another.
Yeah.
Is there any sort of pivotal moment where you sort of found fishing, or is there any sort of moment you can sort of say that was when I knew I wanted to really take on fishing?
I think one of the hardest times was when I joined the army, because I was just really getting into my carp fishing, like, you know, changing over from a youngster that used to muck around on the bank all night pretending he was carp fishing, but really was lighting fires and generally annoying the rest of the lake, like. But we were out doing it, we were camping and enjoying ourselves. Yeah, it was brilliant. But then just before I joined the army, I actually went and got my first sort of real carp rods made. I remember at Romford Angling, they had the angling centre there called the Carp. No, not the Carp then, that was another place, but the A1's Angling, that's it in Romford. And I remember I had a set of Jerry Savage blanks. My dad's mate, who was a good carp angler at the time, taught me to whip the old Fuji eyes on. And then I sent them away to Romford Angling and had the leather whipped tennis racket handles put on them with the Fuji reel grasps. I got a pair of matching 810s, a set of herons. I was the man, like, I had all the kit and everything. We was fishing South Weald and places like that, and Hainault Lake, and I was just really sort of getting into it big time, and then I went and joined the army.
Right.
So I'd done 8 years.
Just before you joined the army, when you were getting into your fishing, were you as prolific as you are now? Catching good stamp of fish?
Mate, I had the keenness of I was as keen as mustard, but with my mates, as soon as we got on the bank, we used to just start messing about, you know. It didn't take long before I was casting out half a chicken, and we used to just love being outside with your mates, you know. It's like you're out with your best mates, you're having a whale of a time over the park. it was just camping really, but fishing rods came along with us. I mean, we used to spend most of the night trying to look at a luminous night float all night in the margins. And eventually, I remember one night one of us caught, it was me actually, I caught a tench, and then it all went deadly serious for another half hour after that, and then we started casting out tins and half a loaf of bread and just generally having a laugh, like, you know.
Yeah.
But towards just before I joined the army, I had stepped it up a bit and I was getting a lot more serious, and I was looking at tackle, that's hence getting my rods made and stuff like that. And I was, you know, I would have been, God, that would have been like a long time before it got really serious. I mean, we're still on fiberglass rods and stuff like that back then.
Yeah.
But when I was in the army, I remember reading about herring being sort of created or thought of by Maddox and whoever helped him, Lenny Middleton and that.
Right.
And I remember reading it thinking...
How far into the army were you at this point? Can you remember?
No, I can't remember. But like, all I remember doing is reading one of I don't know what magazine it would have been, in Angler's Mouth or the Times. I'm sure it was one of them. If the Times went back, then I'm sure that did on the Mail. I don't know if they went back that far. But I was reading it in a magazine, and it was Harry, blah blah blah, Kevin Maddox, and I remember seeing it, thinking that is wrong. The bait has to be on the hook, not on the hair, like, you know. And Christ Almighty.
I know, it's crazy, isn't it?
When but you ain't really come on much further than that, though, is it?
No, not really. No, the herring
is
the herring, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right, it's whipped differently, but it's it's not, is it? It's still the same bit.
I remember me and my mate Roy. I used to come home from leaving the army, and to be fair, like I was over on the streets of Northern Ireland at 17. As soon as I was 18, I was shoved on the streets. I was a young kid. Like when you look back at the time, you think you're a man.
Yeah, and anybody who knows their history will know that they were not pretty times.
No, it was quite tough to be out there, and you know, you're away from home and your family.
Yeah.
But when I came home from doing my tours of duty, the first thing I used to do was ring my mate Roy up and say, right, we're going fishing. Where are we going? And do you know what? Back then, I fished where I wanted. We didn't give a damn about tickets. And we should just go and set up on any lake we wanted, and if they chucked us off, they chucked us off. And back then we didn't care, like, you know.
Yeah.
And I remember me and Roy used to go everywhere. We used to set up on all the top syndicates that were sort of syndicates in them days. No one used to say nothing, you know. But it was really strange because I remember one night we was free lining balls of trout pellet paste mixed up into a paste, and I think I didn't actually have them, but Roy had a brace of mid-20s, and it was like blew me away.
Wow.
But we didn't have a proper camera. You know, like now you got your phones and.
Yeah.
But that memory's still etched in my head. And
yeah, well, that's it. I think you know, there's a few of the older generation of anglers that you know, back then it was never about the trophy shot really. So the camera was the last thing, weren't it?
Yeah.
You know, and if you did have one, it probably weren't very good.
I think this was some sort of like box camera or something.
Yeah,
it was.
exactly.
I don't know exactly what it was, but we never had a flash, and I never had nothing really like at the time to take photos in the dark and all that. And to be fair, I wish we did, because I missed out on a lot of good stuff that I could have had.
You know, back then, a brace of 20s.
Yeah, and all the scenic shots and the shots with you and your mates and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's a lot of memories, isn't it? That are in your head, but you wouldn't mind having, you know, the visual sort of thing to look at. Yeah, I know what you mean. I know. If you can see the back of a red horse walking around, this is George. This is Jerry's dog. He's just an absolute lump.
He's chasing shadows at the minute. He's not being too helpful really. He keeps walking in front of the camera. That's it. He's chilled though. He's chilled.
That's it. No, he's laying
yeah, but
down.
Getting back to like the army, when I came out the army 8 years later, the first thing I done was go and get some tackle, and I was straight over my childhood playground, which was Hainault Park Lake, and where I kind of started. And it was really strange because there was a few lads over there, a couple of little, to me they were younger, so I called them teenagers, like, but they weren't that much younger than me, and it turned out they were a couple of Herberts that had literally rinsed Hainault Park Lake, and I think they went by the names of Terry Dempsey and Tony Moore, and you know, they were like little scallywags on the lake.
Yeah.
And they'd just finished tearing that apart, and then they moved off then onto Downford Tip Lake and that, and you know, history, you all know what happened over there.
Yeah.
But that was at the time. That's at the time we were at, if you know what I mean. Terry and them were really like the innovators of fish mills with Premier, and they were ripping places apart on fish mill. And up until then, it had kind of been paste baits, protein baits, and the very early sort of boilies.
So
and
how long was it before you sort of got onto the boilers and stuff like that? Was it fairly quickly? After the success of Terry and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, they were. By the time I got out, I think the boilers were already kind of underway. They were already being sort of like sold, like, you know, in shops and that.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
not necessarily in shops. I mean, a lot of people still made their own, like, you know, but you could go and buy the ingredients. I know that a lot of the Premier stuff was bought as dry ingredients and knocked together.
Right.
And I remember some of our friends from over Hainault, like a geezer called Dave Pike, we used to call him. We used to go with another guy called Peter Driscoll and go and get a whole van load of all the basics, like the lactalbiums and the milks, and then you get the anchovy and the different fish meals. And we'd like spend the whole day mixing up base mixes and rolling bait basically by hand.
Yeah, crazy.
Good old days, mate.
Yeah, happy days, mate. Yeah. There's something to be said about rolling your own bait and having the fish on it, especially back then when
it was good.
There wasn't company.
It was good rolling your bait once it was all finished and rolled and dried out in front of you. But rolling it, I hated it.
And it's the knowledge you've gained as well from doing that sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? It obviously aids you in choosing a real good quality bait now. So you know what I mean? Of
course it does.
You know what's going on.
Yeah, but everyone rolled their own bait back then. Everyone.
Yeah.
And then the shelf lives came out. I think Richworth and places, people like that, Mistral was it, and
Mistral
was it them?
Yeah.
I can't remember. All the shelf life baits sort of started coming on the shelves, and everyone really used shelf life. They didn't fire in kilos of bait like they do now.
No.
You'd keep them shelf lives for about 4 sessions. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's unheard of now, isn't it?
Yeah.
You need 2 bags for one. Yeah. So moving on from there, what was your first most memorable capture?
I don't know. Hainault was like a very difficult lake back in the day, and it was a very famous lake with the fish that was in it. They were very big fish for the time, if you know what I mean. I think like the biggest fish in there was, well, the bigger they called it. It went 36 plus at its best. There was stories of it coming out bigger, 38, even 40, but I never see that. But it went sort of mid-30s, 36 plus, and that was a colossal fish, and there was a lot of known anglers targeting it. And then there was another carp just below that we called the small 30, and they've had names like that. They're the big one and the small 30, like, and that was like 30 plus, anywhere up to sort of, I think it did eventually go mid-30s, but when I was on there it was like 31 to 33. But they were huge fish. And then equally so, all the fish that backed them up were like upper 20s. These fish had names like Wallers, the Peach, and the Friendly. All these fish were like characters within the lake, and it was just my target to catch one of these sacred carp.
One of these named fish.
I tell you what, over on Hainault, I was as keen as mustard, probably as keen as anyone on there, if not keener. But it punished me over there. It really gave me a hard time.
Do you know, it's funny, I think everybody has got a nemesis lake. The one that's really beat them up.
Do you know why I think it beat me up so much? Because I was so keen, and I was trying to learn so much, and I was trying to learn it all so quick, and I was putting everything to practice, and I just couldn't, like, I think maybe I never relaxed enough and just done what I should have been doing and changing this and changing that. But I remember casting out immaculate rigs to the spots, baiting them, pre-baiting them, and still not really getting much joy. One of my mates, Jay, would turn up and go, put them out and he'd be away. He used to fish every weekend, and Saturday morning you'd hear his rod screaming off like he'd always have one. And I used to just think, what the hell is going on over here?
We've all got one of them mates as well.
I think, haven't we? I think it was just, that was the lake where I learned a lot about fishing and finding
really sort of cut your teeth into like the real nitty gritty of what you needed to do, and I
had to learn. Well, that place there did punish me. I caught them. I didn't catch loads, but I caught them. But from there onwards, I just started marching on after that. Once I'd sort of got over that place, and I never caught the ones I wanted to catch, but I caught a few of them. At least I was there, and I enjoyed the times and met some fantastic mates that are still my mates today. And this is like 30 odd years ago, nearly, It is 30 years ago, over 30 years. And beyond that, when I was a kid, I fished there. But like after the army, really, from then till now, has been like all them lads I met over there. I'm still friends with them. Probably all of them.
Yeah.
And we're all always kept in that Hainault clan, that Hainault gang that was there. We all say if we can only go back for one more night and do that again, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was tremendous times, like the best times of my fishing career, without a doubt. Yeah. The excitement was unbelievable. And I think now I'm still buzzing every time I go fishing. Do you know what? Like in the last 20, 30 years, I've been hardcore the whole way. I've never said I'm having a year off, or I'm having 2 weeks off, or I've just fished as much as I can, like, you know. And luckily, you know.
Do you think that? I don't want to sound patronising, but do you think people get it too easy now? Do you think there's so many day ticket fisheries that are offering fish?
Fishing's massive though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's huge.
There weren't many lakes about. There were, but there weren't many.
So do you think it's just supply for the demand, or do you think
business,
do you think it's kind of ruined it a little bit?
Yeah.
The fact that 30s and even 40s are so accessible now.
It's a big business. Fishing is a massive thing with the tackle and the terminal and
bait,
and the clothing and bait and
yeah,
everything.
yeah,
It's just a massive business, and it's got such a big audience, isn't it? It's probably the biggest sport in England or the world, I don't know. But it's crazy. Sometimes I sit there and I think, what the hell is it all about? Why do I spend so much time tracking down a certain carp? Because that's what I do like to do. I like to hunt certain target fish. Yeah. You spend so much time catching them, and I've seen Terry Earn do it. He's like obsessed with this fish. He'll have a picture of it inside his tackle box, and he sits there looking at it, psyching it out. And as soon as that's done, photographed and put back, he's off for the next one. And it ain't forgot about it. It's put in the memory bank, like, you know what I mean. And he's gone, and all that passion and all that flipping input to catch that one fish, which could take years, you know, and it often does.
It's proper dedication.
It's dedication, and when you get it, it's a big relief and a big, you know, big personal achievement. And then you go, like, you know, and all you got to show for it is a nice picture, but you've got the memories of what you went through. A lot of the times, like when I target big fish, I absolutely don't enjoy it sometimes because of might be the nature of the lake and the journey to get there. And, but once you've started,
horrible walk.
Once you've started, and I'm on it, there's no way I'm backing down. I'll keep going and going and going and going. It's like the Lemwade when I was after that baby face up there. It was such a hard fish to target in the end because so much bait was going in there, and the fish was just sort of like keeping out of the way. I don't know how it was picking up the odd bait and not really. It didn't have to go far for food. The lake was full of naturals anyway. It was a long drive up there, and I'd done a couple of seasons. I thought, if I don't get it soon, I've got to do another season. And I've had enough of the driving and had enough of trying to chase this fish around the lake, you know what I mean? And thankfully I caught it in the end, and it was honest to God, I got there in the morning. I think I left home at 3 in the morning. I caught it that morning, and later that day, and drove home the same day. So it's probably the longest day session I've ever done, like ever travelled.
How big was that when you? Do you remember?
52.8. It was a Norfolk record at the time.
Wow.
Big beast fish. Of a fish. Sadly, it ain't with us no more.
No.
It was just a big frame, fat mirror, really.
Yeah.
You know, not the nicest looking mirror in the world, but still the biggest in that part of the country.
And the character.
And I wanted to catch it, so it meant a lot to me. Like, and it was, I got close so many times, off the top, on the bottom, day too early, day too late, moved out to swim, it got caught, and all of that starts really getting you down. You know what I mean?
Really does grind you down.
And you think, Christ Almighty, when am I going to get it? But it's like, all I've learnt from it is if you want something that bad, just keep going and you'll get it.
Keep plugging away.
At the end of the day, they're only bleating fish, aren't they? Like, and they don't, you know. I know we all think a lot of them, but they're only carp, aren't they?
So other memorable captures?
Oh, mate. Plenty. Memorable captures.
Just give us your sort of your top few that really, you know, like Babyface really took you to the mill.
Babyface was very memorable because it's still fairly fresh in my mind, and also because the hard times I had trying to catch it.
Yeah.
You know, the journey and everything else. And then there's a big relief once I was done and finished over there. So that's quite memorable. But I also remember my first 3 or 4 pounder over at Dagenham Chase, fishing the back lake as a youngster.
Yeah.
I remember being over there, I caught it on a float, I think, with a lobworm, something like that. And that's what kind of really got me going. Like, I caught this lovely little common, and all of a sudden, I've just caught a common carp. I'm a carp angler. Do you know what I mean? I'm now a carp angler. I've caught one, and that, I wish I had a photo of it. I actually did have a photo of it somewhere, but I don't know where it is. But really memorable. People always remember their biggest, but that's
Well,
probably,
no, that's why I say, what are your memorable captures?
That's
I mean,
probably
I can think of fish that I've caught that are not particularly big, 17 or 18 pound, and I've got memories about them and the reasons why they make, you know, that's what makes them memorable. It might be the fact
that it's memorable because you was having the time of your life with your
exactly.
mates.
That's exactly my point.
Fishing next door, or you know, when you're younger and you fish a certain lake. When we fished Hainault, there was no other lake in the world. I never even thought of going, I'm going to go here, I'm going to go there. Next season I'm there. Next season I'm there.
Hainault.
Every season rolled into the next season, the next season, and the next season. It was all Hainault. It never even come into my head, I must try and find another water. Nowadays, you get lads jump on a lake and they're gone within a season, you know, or, you know what I mean? But we just loved it over there. And, you know, fishing there with my pals was better than catching. The catching was the good part of it. If that come along, that was a bonus, you know what I mean? But the best part of it was being there with my mates. Yeah. It's all about friends in life, isn't it? And mates,
most definitely,
comrades, and
most definitely.
You know, like I say,
you meet a lot of people along the way.
Yeah.
You know,
all my mates now, like Mickey Germain, Paul Pionan, Jay Willis, Scott, all my old pals, Neil. There's loads of them that we're all still mates, like, you know, and that proved the point that back then we were really close and we're still close now.
Yeah, but that is what fishing's all about. You know, as well as the fish, it's about meeting
people.
And
after Hainault, I mean, we started venturing onto other lakes like Dagenham Front Lake and the Chase, and then we went to where did we go? Bretton's Farm out in Dagenham, and eventually I ended up moving out this way, which is only round the corner from here, and. You've got just over the back of where we are now, you've got Nazy Meads over there. Right, yeah. And me and Mick and Paul and Jay, all of them, we all went and fished Nazy Meads as one big gang night over there, and we carried it on. And I had an 8-year affair with Nazy Meads, and that was equally very, very memorable times, and some of the best fishing of my life.
I can imagine a lot of things happened.
It was crazy, mate. We got on one bank, there's a big road bank that you can drive down and park your car all the way down that bank, and I used to work. I had a wine bar then. I actually used to work once. Like I had a wine bar, and you can laugh.
You worked once?
Yeah,
I don't believe that for a minute.
I didn't like it, so I give it up. I ate it anyway. I used to drive back from the wine bar at 1 a.m. I was a pest, mate. I used to wake all my mates up. I used to do. You know, this is how keen I was. I used to fish nearly every night of the week after work. I never finished work till midnight, and I used to drive from Ilford to where I live now. It's only where I used to live, around the corner from Nazy Meads, and then I'd have all my gear in the car. I never even went home. I used to come straight round the lake, drive up the lake, set my rods up. I even used to sleep in the back of my estate car sometimes, and my mate Jay always laughs because I had a take once and the tailgate shut and I couldn't get out. And another time I had my bed chair set up in the back of the estate, and I had about a 2-inch gap with my nose on the roof, and you know, all stuff like that. It was brilliant times. I remember I jumped out and the tailgate come down and split my head open. But I used to have to get up at 10 in the morning. I used to have to leave the lake at 10 in the morning. I used to go straight home round the corner, have a shower, go to work all day, and then come back again in the evening. I'd do that some nights, 2 or 3 times a week. Yeah. And then I used to have Monday and Tuesday off, which was brilliant. So I used to finish work Sunday, go straight to the lake Sunday, fish Sunday night, Monday night, Tuesday night, and then go home Wednesday morning, have a shower and go work. That's crazy. My missus, I don't know how she put up with it, but 25 years later I'm still with her, so...
Fair play.
I must have been doing something all
right. You were earning good money, mate. That's what it was.
No, well, maybe.
She won't go nowhere.
Nah, she loves me, mate. That's what I mean.
Yeah, I know that.
I hope, anyway.
Yeah.
I think I'd have known by now if she didn't. But, you know, at the end of the day, you've got to take your hat off to people like that are sitting at home while you're out fishing all the time, you know. Yeah. But, you know, we had our holidays and done our stuff together, and to be fair...
That's what it's all about, isn't it?
To be fair, I do regret a little bit of, like, where I was working, the way I was working in the wine bar and stuff like that. I was away all day, and even if I had been coming home at night, I still wouldn't have seen my kids because they were going to bed early, sort of 7, 8 o'clock, and I wouldn't have got in till midnight anyway. So I still would have seen them, and then in the morning I would have got up late because I worked late at night. They would have been at school.
So you still wouldn't have seen them.
I still wouldn't have seen them, so it didn't make any difference if I went fishing. Yeah. And I look back now and think, although obviously I spent loads of time with them, but I really wish now I'd not done the wine bar and I could have had a normal job and I could have spent more time. But, you know...
What's done's done, mate. Do you know what I mean?
No, mate, my kids... My son still lives on site with me. We've got brilliant... I'm really, really lucky, mate, and I really do know it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Fair play to you, mate. Yeah. So, yeah, talking about here, how did you come to start looking after this place?
I've been here, I can't remember if it's 12 or 13 years now.
Yeah.
There was an old guy called Peter Brill who used to live in the lock house where I live now.
Yeah.
And basically we bought the lock house and the lakes were part of the estate life, you know what I mean?
Okay.
And so we came here and took the lakes over, and it was, I never ever dreamed that I'd live on an island on the River Lee with one of the best chub swims outside my kitchen window, and then walking distance to my own lakes, like, you know. And to be fair, like, I couldn't wish for it any other way. If I won the lottery, this is what I'd want.
When I pulled up in the car and I said, "Is that
you
your
ain't been
house?"
Here before, had you?
Oh, is that your house? And you went, "Yeah, you lucky son."
Do you know, like, the biggest part of it and the most thrill is creating what's here?
Yeah.
I mean, if you would have seen this 12 years ago,
I couldn't imagine, mate.
this
I
lake
can
here,
imagine.
you couldn't even walk around it.
No.
There was not even a path around it. It was top to bottom with lily pads, and it was also really, really heavily dense with anaerobic black silt, and we had to literally sort all the problems out with that because the fish were dying to begin with because there was the silt was stripping oxygen out of the lake. And it's a massive story, like, about this place. And the other lake, I mean, the snags we've took out, we created what's here. Every fishery owner, manager will know what's involved. And to be honest, over the years I've worked like a Trojan over here to get this like it is.
I've done a little bit of work with a guy over in France on the lake, and before that I hadn't done any sort of work parties or anything like that. And I'll tell you what, that was graft. And we were only there for like a week.
Yeah.
And we were just helping him do some bits and pieces, like filling in koi poo holes,
Yeah,
cutting up some of the trees that had come down, and it's hard graft.
It is.
And you've got two.
Yeah,
and they're
I mean,
massive.
We obviously started on the other one first, and then we moved on to this one.
Yeah.
But you know, it's very, very hard work, but it's very enjoyable when you see the end result.
Very rewarding, rewarding. Like you say.
The work never finishes. You're always maintaining, you're always rebuilding swims, you're always cutting back hedges, you're always cutting the grass, you're always doing something. But once you've got it to that standard where it's like now, it's pretty good standard, both lakes now. I mean, you'll never see a scrap of litter nowhere. The swims, wear and tear, you have to kind of do work on them. It's like we're flooded a little bit on this now, so once the water's gone down, we'll go around and repair what needs repairing. We'll re-wood chip the swims. We've got a few more snags. Every year we take more snags out of here.
The trees come down, don't they?
Yeah, there's with the winds we've had this winter, you know, the trees, it's just been non-stop tree work, like, you know, like getting it back in shape. But to be honest, like I say, I'm really, really proud of both lakes. They run themselves. They're both syndicates now. Both lakes are full of absolutely stunning carp, you know, and I couldn't wish for any more, really. And it works so well that it gives me my time to go away during the week, do my bit of fishing, and then when I come back, I have to be around the lakes talking to anglers and doing stuff.
Doing
like,
your bit.
people just think, oh, he goes fishing all the time, but this is my life. I go fishing all the time. I don't go to work because I've got a fishery. Do you get what I mean?
Exactly.
And that is my work.
This is your job.
This is my work.
Yeah.
Some people think, he's always fishing, but to be honest, mate, I only normally do about 2 days a week. When I was up Norfolk because of the drive and I was hell-bent on catching that mirror, I'd stretch it out a bit, you know, but...
Yeah, swing things around.
As long as everything's sorted back here and I can get away, I've got a good bailiff team around me, I can afford, you know, Christ almighty, I'm getting on now, I need to have a bit of time to do what I want to do, do you know what I mean?
Getting on.
Bloody hell, I'm an old man nearly. I've had a real good time, mate, real good time.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do in the future. I'll probably still tap around here like for a while, you know what I mean?
You'll be the old codger of Carthagena, won't you?
Yeah, mate. I think they call me the Duke of Nazing, because this area's Nazing. And my dog George is like a brigadier.
Brigadier George.
Yeah.
He's a unit and a half.
Yeah. But I say, like, every time I look out my bedroom window and I can see Nazing meads out my bedroom window and I can literally see through the trees certain swims, and I look out at this and I think, I used to sit in that swim like 15 years ago fishing, like, you know.
And when you were sat there, you never realised you'd be sat there.
We knew this was here, but it wasn't like it is now.
No.
And but when I look at the swims over there, I think, Christ, we had some good time, and all the memories start coming back. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's it.
There's pucker.
So, fair play, mate. So there you go. That's your fishing career.
Well, I could carry on waffling for hours, but it depends how much tape you got. And the people might get a bit bored.
I was going to say.
If there's anything else you want to know, mate, just ask us.
I think that's about it. I think we covered it, the basics, and
yeah,
I'm sure there'll be more revealed in the future.
Well, hopefully we'll catch a fish later on, and you'll be able to, I mean, bearing in mind, if you do put the camera around this lake, this is The wettest winter we've had in history, isn't it?
Yeah.
One of them.
Yeah.
It's March the 14th. The trees are still bare. The water will start turning tack clear soon, and all the lily pads will come up.
We'll be coming back. I'll be coming back down to do some session videos, and
You've got to see it.
We'll show it again. What it's turned into. That's the point. Keep an eye out for that. Jerry's going to be doing some blogging, isn't you, mate? Some video blogs, and we haven't even mentioned the DVDs or anything.
No, mate.
We haven't done any plugging whatsoever.
Don't worry about it. Don't matter, does it?
It's done now, isn't it? But yeah, so keep an eye out for that, and thanks a lot, Jerry.
You're welcome, mate. Anytime.
Been a pleasure, mate.
Anytime, mate.
No, I need a brew.
Yeah, so do I. Another.
Thanks a lot for watching.